friends, welcome back to Lemon Tree Corner, your favorite crafty corner. My name is Heather if you're new here, and I make project bags and purses and things like that. Welcome, welcome, and if you're not new here, thanks for coming back and sticking around, and I hope to have some fun stuff for you this week. So this week we are making another tote bag, and we are going to compare the two tote bags. So this week we are making the Aloha Tote from Pink Sand Designs. Pink Sand Beach Designs is her full name. So I will link this pattern below. I basically got like a real printed pattern in the mail, and then I had to scan it in so that I had sheets that I could print. Because it's always nice to print this first page and like check off all the cuts and things like that. But you'll see here, this is what it looks like. It's fun. It's got 3 stripes, a handle, a magnetic snap, and it's pretty much a very easy pattern to make. This is the very first pattern I made in my bag making class. So let's take a look at my first bag. So this is the very first bag I ever made. So very cool. It's got like a Peltex bottom. In fact, we can do the same thing we did last week with the extra lines of stitching on here if you would like. It's basically 3 stripes, and then you take one of the fabrics for the inside, and then it's got these slip pockets which are very similar to what we did with the project bags. And then it's got a magnetic snap. I have since lengthened the handles because these handles fall right there. It's like way too close. So I added a little length to the handles on the second one that I made that I used as a choir bag. Fun, fun. So we've got quite a few fabrics set aside for these. So first off, I've got these fabrics. This is a fun one. It's got sewing notions and forms and stuff like that. I was thinking I might take this one and turn it into a sweater project bag instead, since it has 3 fabrics and it's kind of crafty, that it might work better as a sweater bag. So we'll do that with that one. And the reason I'm going to take that one and turn it back into a sweater bag is because we've got 5. We've got 5 other sets of fabric that I want to make in this bag. And that's just going to be too many. So if you heard the end of last week's video, I'm going to give myself some grace and be nice to myself and not expect myself to do 4 or 5 bags each week for the next 3 months. So basically we have the craft fair coming up in November, and that's what we're making all these bags for. This is the big push. Last week I had 4 of the terrific totes to make. We managed to get through 3 of them. That was with the extra day with my Friday off, and 2 hours a night cutting and prepping and sewing and everything. So while I'm happy to devote 2 hours a night on the weeknights to getting these bags done, it's just not very realistic that they're all going to get done in the amount of time I have. And do I really need 5 of these hanging up? Maybe with these ones, because they are going to be a lower price point. They're an easier tote to make. So we'll see how many we get done. But I think for the rest of the bag patterns we're going to be doing, I'm just going to make 2. I'm going to make 2 of every pattern. We're going to get through all the patterns. We're going to go large, small, large, small, large, small. Let's make sure I have a well-rounded line of bags to choose from at the craft fair. And then if we have time left over, we will go back to the ones we didn't make, and we will make the next batch. So that's the plan there. The ones that I have here are the 2 that I repurposed from the terrific totes, and I think they're going to be better off as Aloha Totes. And then I have this beautiful flamingo fabric that I think would be a fun tote bag. I found the fabric that was missing. Yay! I knew I had one. I knew I had one with 3 fabrics. So here's the fabric I was originally thinking of for this bag. And then I have these 3 fabrics that were originally going to be something else. And it was originally going to be a swoon bag, but I scrapped that because I didn't like that pattern. So we've got these 3, which are very retro. So those are fun. So I think I'm going to start with these 2. And then if we have extra time later on in the week, because it is my last Friday off for the summer, we'll just see how far we get, and we'll just definitely do 2, and we might do more if we have some time. But I also had the rest of the piggies to make, so yeah, we might not get through that many. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was my shawl. So here we have my project bag. So this is the Fences shawl from Expression Fiber Arts. And, you know, I picked out 3 colors that I thought would look good together. And as I work on it, I'm just figuring out it's like super 80s. And I don't know that they all go together. And I'm wondering if it's just too crazy. Although now, looking at it, it looks pretty good. So maybe I just needed some perspective. This is also going to stretch. It's going to relax, and it's going to be a lot more holy than it is right now. So that's good. Okay, I feel better. I was ready to scrap it all. So we are on to the border, and the border is going to go all the way around, and it's going to have a trefoil. Now I don't know if you get into this situation, but for me, when I try and do fancy patterns like this, you know, I'm hoping there's a tutorial, or I see that there's a tutorial and I buy the pattern and I pick out yarn and I'm all excited, and then I watch the tutorial and it only shows me one step of the whole thing. So it's kind of how I feel about this pattern. It's not that involved. I mean, the actual rows is like a 4-row repeat, so that's pretty easy. The ends I couldn't figure out. I made up my own thing. And now for the border, they didn't really explain how to tie it all in, so I'm making up how to do the border on the end parts. And yeah, so I just feel like I need to stop when I get excited about a pattern and actually watch the tutorial and make sure, like, the pattern's free, so I can download the pattern, read through it, make sure that I understand it, that there's the video helps enough for me to get me through the pattern before I commit to it and I buy yarn for it. Because I've had a few experiences like this where this has happened, and it's not fun. And I like to challenge myself and up my game, but I want to set myself up for success at the same time. So yeah, this has been a very interesting project to work on. So if that sounds good to you, grab a water or a cool beverage, curl up, and let's start making some Aloha Totes. That's close. Hey friends, I'm just about to jump onto my sister's craft Zoom, so I'm all set up here, and we are going to be making some thank you cards. So I got some paper. I've got that scrapbook paper that I bought at the reuse store. I'm also going to be asking my sister's advice on the shawl border. We'll see what happens there. But another important thing I did this week was I filled out the calendar. So I wanted to make sure I had enough weeks to make all the bags that I want to make before the craft fair, in November. So I plotted out all the bags we're doing, including the one we just did last week and the one we're doing this weekend. And I've got just enough weeks to make all the bags, plus our vacation week, and what else? Oh, and then we had to make the coin purses and that kind of thing, all the little things like the sachets. We have to price everything, we have to get all the price tags on and prepare for the craft fair. So I really am not going to be making anything the week before the craft fair. I'm going to be prepping everything. So that week's kind of shot too. So it's going to be tight, tight. It's gonna be a very tight timeline. It's so funny because you think, oh, it's not until mid-November, and then you think about the amount of weeks you have until it comes, and it's on its way very, very fast. So we're gonna take some time today. Good news is since I had one of my last Fridays off, we spent all day working on the rest of the terrific totes, which you will see behind me. I have the last one with the doggies, French Bulldogs? No, Boston Terriers. Boston Terriers, I think is the breed I was thinking of. So I went ahead and I just said, screw it, let's cut that fabric out. Let's make that last bag, and I'll just deal with the consequences of being behind more. So I got that all prepped and ready to sew tomorrow on Saturday. So we'll see how far we get with that, and then we also have to prep all the other fabric for the Aloha Totes. We're getting ready for the Zoom, and I'll take you along with me on that. Okay folks, here we are on Saturday morning. I did not get through the final bag on Friday, so I'm gonna hurry up and finish this bag so we can start prepping our fabric for our Aloha Totes. Okay, it's only 2 o'clock on Saturday, and we are just now getting to our Aloha Totes. So if you'll remember, these two sets of fabric, the whole reason I was going to make a tote was because these are really large prints. So this ain't going to work. This 3-stripe thing is not going to work for this. So we are going back to the drawing board for these two. I don't have time for them anyway. So they are no longer an Aloha Tote. We don't know what they are going to be. I'm hoping to find another pattern that is, I do have another tote pattern that has cork on the sides. So that might be an interesting one for those ones. So when we eliminate those, we have 3 Aloha Totes to make. I think that's a good number. I'm going to start with this one. Or this one. This one is kind of an interesting color combination. I think I originally had this one set aside to be a Lola, but if we aren't making the Lolas, then I'm not sure what I would be doing with this, so not quite sure. Oh, I have 2 sets of instructions here. Well then. So I'm going to set this one aside for now. If we get to it, we get to it, but these are the 2 main ones we are going to focus on. These were the fabrics I was missing before, so I just really like that, the 3 stripes. And then I had this flamingo fabric, so I'm going to do 3 stripes with that. I think we'll do this as the top. That would be nice. Obviously this one's going to go that way. Yeah, up and down. So these are our 2 Aloha Totes. These are going to be a lot faster than the other ones. A lot less pieces. There aren't any pockets, but there is a slip pocket on the inside, just like the ones we used to make. Just like the project bags. So we do have a slip pocket in there, and so that's just going to be way easier. No zippers, no hardware, except for a magnetic snap. So I'm going to go ahead and process these. I'm going to need one of these for the interior fabric. I might go ahead and use this one for the interior, just because otherwise you're not going to see a lot of that. We could do the same here, or I could do the pink for the interior, which I kind of like as well. I think I'll do the pink. Okay. I used to store all of my excess fabric on these boards, and then I just got lazy. So I have all these boards, but not really using them. So we'll have to figure out, this is a remnant. Everything else should be a yard of fabric. Oh, that looks like a half yard. That one looks like a half yard. So I gotta be careful as far as which fabric is the pocket in the... I ran out of battery. I can't remember where I was. Oh, so I'll have to be careful on what is the interior pocket, just because I don't know if I have enough fabric left for that or not. We did use decor bond in this, but I'll have to take a look at the second one I made. I think I used fusible fleece in the second one. It's just better. Fusible fleece is just better. It sticks better. It's got more oomph. I always call it more oomph. It's just got more pile, so it feels nicer. Yeah, so I'm gonna print a new one of this just because this gets very confusing. And yeah, then I'll go ahead and prep all the fabric, and that's probably going to be the rest of today because we are headed to the beach for a couple of hours. We've only been to the beach like once this whole summer, and that was when we took a beach vacation. So I would like to enjoy the beach on one of these last weekends before school starts. Not that it won't be hot enough to go to the beach after school starts, but I just feel like I'm missing out, you know? I've been pushing. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're doing fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 3, just like that. So pretty easy. I made the handles longer. Did I write that down? They're normally 21. I made them 30 on the next one I made, which was too long. So we're gonna go with 26 for that. And then she has you sew it into the handle as well, the decor bond, and then she has you do the, you know, the quilting that we just did on the other one. So we will do that. Okay, so that's our game plan for the rest of the day and into the night, and hopefully, if all goes well, I will be ready to sew tomorrow, because if I'm ready to sew tomorrow, I'm getting these 2 bags done tomorrow, and then we can move on to the third one after that. Okay, break. So I forgot to show you guys the other version that I made for myself, which was a sewing theme. So this is the second bag I've ever made. It's just such a cute fabric. So I did 2 sets of pockets in here, and I don't think you need 2 slip pockets. I think 1 would be fine. And I used this as my choir bag for a long time, so it still has a pencil in there. So that's fun. I was looking at the handles, and they're definitely bigger than the 1-inch handles I have. So they're like 1.5-inch handles, which I think is a nice difference between this and the other bag. And I believe they're a 1.5-inch because she has us making the handles differently, but I don't really want to make the handles the way she wants us to make the handles. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the math here, and we're going to make them 1.5-inch handles, but we're going to sew them the way we normally do. So if we do 1.5 inches times 4, that gets us 6. What we are going to do is we're going to change the handles from 4 by 26 to 6 by 26, just so we get those chunkier handles that I have on these ones, and that's something that will differentiate it from the other tote bags. So 6 by 26. So I think that'll be good. So what I did here, and really this bag is very similar to the one we just made. We're just sewing the 3 stripes together, and then we're doing it. And it does call for fusible fleece. So I don't know, there's no fusible fleece in here. I think I just used the decor bond, so maybe that's something the instructor had us do because we were brand new and we hadn't learned about fusible fleece yet. I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, we're just going to make these. I'll show you a few clips, but there's really nothing different than we've done before. So the important thing here is really figuring out what you want your 3 stripes to be and your lining, and then determining what you want your inside pockets to be. So that's really the thing here, and I've changed this. I don't want it all listed the way she wants it listed, and then I had to put down here what fabrics I'm using. Let's get the ones we're actually using. So I'm going to use the pink dots as the lining, and the top stripe, and then we've got the flamingos and the other blue fabric. And what I want to do is, yeah, we did a pocket out of the blue, and then I think I'm going to do the other one out of the stripe. And then she's got this interesting detail on the pocket as well. So what she does is she takes a piece of the other fabric as an accent on the top, and we stiffen that and we turn it out, and it's a nice little topper. We are done. Unfortunately, the pink is blending into the pink of the table, but it's super cute. Very, very cute. So we've got our flamingos, and then our snap and our pink, and then the other one is going to be different from that, so that's good. And we've got our pocket in there with a little accent on top. And I don't know if I like the accent being that tall. We might change that. Hey friends, so that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the new kind of camera setup with the 3 videos. I think that's really going to help me add more content without adding more time to the videos, because I always feel like I don't have enough time. Especially when we get to a travel video, I can show you all the pretty things without it taking forever. So let's take a look at our Aloha totes. I managed to get all 3 done, yay! So here was our first one with the flamingos. The one thing I didn't like is that the handles are the same color as the top stripe and as the interior. So it's kind of like all pink right there, all in a row. So I changed it up for the next one, and we did these 3 stripes, and I did the pink handles, which are not next to pink. So I think that worked out a lot better. And we've got our crazy coral lining there. I also cut down the pocket strip at the top. Another thing you can do if you don't want to do that pocket strip is that you can make the lining of the pocket a little bit taller, so like a ½ inch, an inch taller, and that way when you sew it, it'll be kind of bulgy, and then when you iron it flat, and that little piece sticks up over the other side of the pocket. So it just adds that nice layer without having to have a whole separate strip. So that's that's another way you could do that. And the last one we did, which still needs a good press, is this one with the Hawaiian flowers. I bought this fabric so long ago and then I couldn't find it, so I was slightly annoyed. So we've got that one. I think the only thing I don't love about this pattern is that because you're doing 3 stripes, it's hard to pick a color. So like it's easy to pick a color that goes with this, but when you're sewing the whole bag together, like on this one you can kind of see that some of that teal thread is poking through. So other than doing like sewing 3 different colored threads on the edge, which isn't really gonna work, I don't know how you would make that look better. So that's probably the only thing. So we got these. I have to price out all these bags because I have not sold these bags before. I feel like the Terrific Tote is great. I love the pockets in it, but I just feel like this one is so much easier to make. It's a similar concept. My other problem is that my stripes never quite line up the way I want them to line up. So it is kind of easier to do the pocket. It just takes more time to do that front pocket in the Terrific Tote. So they're kind of 2 different things. I feel like if you're going to go through all that effort with the Terrific Tote, maybe you could put a recessed zipper in there and make it more of a, you know, like a bag. But it is still a tote bag, so not sure about that. They both have their own merits and their own uses, so I think they're both good bags. And we have another bag coming up, which is the Alice bag, which is more like a work bag. It's got a zipper. You could probably fit a laptop, file folders, things like that in there. So it's much more of a sophisticated work bag kind of thing. But I think the Terrific Tote could also be used as a work bag. You could probably fit your laptop in there. I think this is too small for a laptop, but this would be good for an iPad if you had an iPad. And let's try it. I don't know. I don't know if it would fit file folders. Yeah, it just fits file folders. I obviously said I use this as my choir bag for a long time, so it fit my choir folder and any new music and pencil and all of that stuff in there. So I think it's a really versatile bag. It would also be a good book bag, so you could take this with your grandkids to the library to pick up some books, or an activity bag. So one thing I thought about for future is that if I did like Disney fabrics or more kid fabrics, that this would be a good bag for you to take on a road trip or a plane with like coloring books and pens and stuff like that, and maybe like a chapter book. So that's all we have. So next week we are going to be making a smaller bag. So we're going to be making the Sunshine Crossbody bag, which is super fun, and it has like accent panels. So you can do that with the cotton, or you could do that with cork, denim, whatever kind of accent that you want to do. So we'll go into that next week. Haven't really had any time to work on my shawl at all. I just have a couple more border rows to do, but I really just haven't had time to do that. I've been exhausted being the sole caretaker for the dogs for a couple of nights. So I got to get back into that. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you had fun this week, and I'm wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much for being here. Giving me your time and attention is the greatest gift that you can give me, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you for being here, and I hope you come back next week. See you then. Love you. Bye.